the summer of 1967, my mom and the three girls, me at 11, Alice at 7, and Cindy at 3, headed out in the 1961 family station wagon to visit grandmother in California. As Mom sailed happily along US Highway 70 at a good clip over the speed limit, with me in the navigator's seat, all the windows were open and our hair was whipped around our faces. The smell of Indiana corn and soy and the rich Midwestern soil wafted through the windows. We were almost across Missouri when a police car, lights flashing, sirens blaring, stopped us. Ma'am, officer looked in the car window. Do you know how fast you were going? The speed limit, my mother answered with hope in her voice. No, more like 80 miles an hour, he replied. When he examined my mother's driver's license, a grin spread across his face. What do you know, he said, we have the same birthday. My mother's face lit up again with hope. Well, we're kindred spirits, she announced, clearly believing that this close connection would save her a ticket. It didn't, and she grumbled for the next 30 miles about the amount of the ticket, the officer's failure to honor their shared birthday, and his lack of compassion, given that there were 3 children in the car. She then proceeded to lecture us about how to spot a police car before getting pulled over. Watch out for the side streets. Cops can spring out at you any time. Since we were on the highway with no side streets and far into driving age, I failed to see how this advice could help us. After this tip, my mother said, we've got to get out of this miserable state of Missouri, which is nothing but bad luck for us. I thought that Mom's speeding, rather than mistake, was, if you can call it that, bad luck. In fact, the next day we ran into more trouble in Kansas. I had abandoned navigating and was lying on the ledge in the back seat, singing at the top of my lungs to compete with the wind. Suddenly, the rear wheel broke off the car. We were skating along on 3 tires and the axle as Mom bravely swerved across the road at top speed to hideous grinding noises and sparks flying off the axle. And she yelled, hang on for your dear lives, before she finally managed to stop at the side of the road. Well, Mom exclaimed brightly, that was a miracle. I had to admit her driving without a wheel was skillful, and I felt that without it we might not be alive. After a short consideration of our situation, during which I pointed out the last sign said the nearest town was 18 miles away, she announced we would have to hitchhike. I thought it sounded like fun, but my sister Alcie was nervous. What if a criminal picks us up, she said. Well, really, my mom replied with confidence. What criminal's going to pick up a mom with 3 girls? With that, we stood at the side of the road with our thumbs out, while Mom told Cindy, the littlest, to stand in front of us and look woebegone and try to cry. Maybe because of this act, a car driven by an older woman stopped 15 minutes later. She cried, oh, you poor things. Get in and I'll take you to a car mechanic. On the way to town, my mom talked nonstop and cheerfully about the terrible accident. I never even knew a wheel would come off the car. A flat tire is one thing, but the whole kit and caboodle flying off the car? Now that's something you don't see every day. In fact, I've never seen it before. We're just so fortunate that you're a good Samaritan who stopped to help us. Meanwhile, Alcie was unsuccessfully looking around the car for a gun, just in case there was one. 2 days and a mechanic's bill later, we started off to Colorado. It was a breeze. No cops, no accidents, no bad luck, until we were a few miles from the border of Utah. Then, the fearsome foursome ran into trouble. That's the story of part 2.
Yeah!